do it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Studio Live today in the Creator Town Hall for yet another week, coming to you live from Studio Live Today Studios. This show is brought to you by me, brought to you by Studio Live Today and the Studio Live Today Gear Guide and merchandise store. Because, yeah, if you want to drink coffee from a Studio Live Today mug and feel cool and confuse your family and friends, you can go ahead and do that. Just head to studiolivetoday.com/merch, or to check out the gear guide, you go right here, studiolivetoday.com/gear. If you're in the market for buying any gear for your home studio, I've got there listed all of the wonderful bits of gear that I've used and tested, and I've just updated it with my complete setup for right here in April 2021. And it is April 2021, and I hope you are doing well. What is this show and who am I? Well, my name's Pete. This is Studio Live Today. My goal here is to help you create, record, and release your best music, but along with music, video and art and anything creative is what we're talking about in this show, because as creators, there's a lot of different topics, a lot of different things that come up that you may want to ask about, that I want to talk about and get off my chest, and we can have a conversation here for the next couple of hours. We can have a chat about these things that help us create, and that's what this is all about. So we are interactive here. So if you do have questions and you want to throw those here, all you need to do is put the word question in front, just like that, pretty casual, and I'll identify those and answer them as we go through. Hello to Jade Star. Hello to Tom Rochelle. RX2 is here. We've got Kim in the house as well. The Mix Club. Hello to you. RJ Lovely, good morning to you. And I hope you are doing well, all of you. Yeah, we're at a weird time here because I've just got back from 24 hours off. So I've had a vacation. I've had a one-day vacation, 24 hours not in the studio and not doing the work here. And it's been lovely. I actually went with my wife. We went to the football. Then we went out and had dinner. Went to the casino. Don't worry, I don't gamble that much, so I didn't lose the studio. I didn't put the iPad Pro on red or anything silly like that. But now we're back, and it got me thinking. We're going to cover a few topics here today, but the first one I want to talk about is live music returning. So, a question for you. If you're here live and you're watching this one, either on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, when was the last time you saw some live music and what was it? I'd be interested to know, and where you are in the world. So different parts of the world I know have started opening up at different levels. I know here in Australia we are at the point of being in the new normal, much as I hate that word, the new normal. And I know for other parts of the world, it's sort of a little bit slower getting back to this. In New Zealand, I know they've started having live concerts and gigs again, and right around Australia. Let me know what's happening in your part of the world and what has your experience been with these. So for me, I've started going back to live music again. It started with a pod concert, which let's see if we can find some view of what these look like. So I went to a pod concert here, Pod Concert Adelaide. Oh, look up. You know what? I did a video on this. So why don't we take a quick squiz at my video of the pod concert that I attended here. I'll show you a little bit behind the scenes, because it was cool, but it was very different. It was a different sort of experience than what you're used to. So if you missed it, this is sort of what live music is happening with live music for the physical distancing to actually take place. So let's jump in and take a look at this one. So just a couple of days ago, I attended my first ever pod concert. Is that even what you call it? It was a physically distant live gig where we had our own pods so that we could be kept separate from the rest of the punters. It was a very cool experience, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. So step one was jumping on the tram, because Adelaide, trams, right? And then we made our way over to Benithan Park to the Summer Sounds Festival. Now, we were seeing Ruel with some special guests.
Too long
we had to do our
We'll jump
COVID-safe
ahead
check-in.
so that you can take a look.
Exactly as you would think. We had little... So here are the pods. So this is the sort of setup that we had here. So you can see you're very isolated from other people. You're there with only your own party, your own group. It looks hot there. It was like 35 degrees that day. So yeah, that was the first gig that I went to. It's pretty cool. They bring you drinks straight over to your little pod, and it's a way of getting back to live music. And the reason that I thought that was very cool is that it gave the artists an opportunity to actually be performing again, which they hadn't done for a long time. Because as much as it hurts to be a punter and not be able to see live music, think about if it's your livelihood, if you are a performing artist and you're unable to actually get out there and do your thing. So that was sort of stage one. From there, I've been to other festivals and to other concerts, and like I say, it's getting to the point where we're back to almost full capacity. The gigs that are full capacity that are indoors are masks required, so I'm getting used to that. Even at the football yesterday, you had to have a mask on whenever you were out of your seat. So whenever you were in the bars or the toilets or mingling around, you still had to be masked up, and that's here in Australia where we have zero community transmission right now. So I know it's going to be different in other parts of the world, but the good news is that we're starting to get back to some sort of normality when it comes to live music, which is cool because I, for one, have missed live music a whole lot. Tom Rochelle says that the last concert he saw was Tool. Yes, in January 2020. Hell of a show that. Yeah. Tool I've seen live twice, in fact. And yeah, they put on a ridiculously good live show. So I highly recommend Tool if they're ever coming back. And hopefully they will come back to Australia again in the future. Oh, I've got my volume up way too loud now. Turn that down a bit. PJ Harvey was Kim's last one. I don't go to as many concerts as I used to. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Are you still into concerts? Are concerts still live music? Now that we listen to so much music at home and everyone's got their iPhone or their iPad or their PC or Mac or just devices like in their home, their Google Play devices and their Siris and Amazons and all sorts of things. Yeah, is live music still the experience that it once was? I must admit, as I'm getting older, the effort factor of getting out of the house and going places and standing in lines and being around people, because I'm not much of a crowds person, the trade-off there is a little bit different than it used to be. So yeah, it's a challenge for me as an introverted person to be getting out there. Quoted Quotes, very cool name. Welcome, Quoted Quotes. I don't think I've seen you around the community. Last concert I went to was REO Speedwagon in their first year of touring. Very cool, love it. Tom has tickets to see Rage Against the Machine. Was supposed to be in July 2020, just got postponed again to spring 2022. Hopefully, it can actually happen. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, hopefully. Barry says, I like Rage, play them really loud. There you go. Dan Ekberg was Korn and Alice in Chains. Wow, glad I got that one in. Yeah, that would be a very cool gig. Korn and Alice in Chains together. Yeah, I'd be digging on that one for sure. Very good. Hello, Clayton Von Kluge. How are you doing? I've got Joe Glenn. I've got Barry Glenn in here. Jeff Brush. Hello, folks. If I haven't said g'day to you. Remember, this is interactive. So this is your chance to have a chat about anything creativity related. If you've got questions, we can put them to not only me, but the rest of the Studio Live Today community and hopefully get you some answers. If you've got questions, just do that. Put question in front of your question and we'll in front of your comment and we'll be able to circle around and answer those. We've got some other topics coming up on the show. We're going to talk about mic and line level. If you haven't learned about that, I'm going to have a bit of a rant on music streaming. We're going to talk about some hidden gems, some YouTube channels that you may not be aware of. And I've actually asked, I haven't checked these yet, but I've asked folks to send me in some hidden gems. So maybe we'll do some live gem mining. We'll go in and find some hidden gem channels from what you folks have suggested. So if you've got suggestions for YouTube channels that we should be checking out, do throw them in. And we have a midpoint motivation happening at the halfway point as well. Let's get into something that's an interesting topic. And I want to ask you a question as well. If you're here live, have you ever recorded in a professional studio? And part B of that is, do you think the pro studios are still relevant in 2021? Now, I'm not saying this to put anyone's nose out of joint, because I already do that. Somehow, me just talking and existing and recording music in GarageBand on my phone puts a few noses out of joint because people think that I'm somehow trying to take jobs away from people in professional studios. The reality of it is that a lot of folks that record in the home studio don't do so as an alternative to professional recording. They do so because it's all that they can do. So if you have your iPhone and you start recording, as I recommend you do, just start using the gear you have and you just plug a pair of headphones in here and you start recording in GarageBand, that costs you virtually nothing. I mean, yes, you have to buy an iPhone, but you know what? Most folks have an iPhone or an iPad anyway. But if you want to go and spend $100 an hour, $200 an hour, like, $1,000, $2,000 to record a song or an EP in a professional studio, it's not really a comparison. Now, the comparison is there if you're going to fit out a home studio. You're going to spend $1,000 worth of gear, you've got a home studio. But then if you learn how to do it yourself, you've got that for life. And as we say, it's like home recording is unlimited retries. It's like pumping unlimited quarters into a machine and putting it on free play mode, because you can just keep recording and keep trying again. Now, the thing that I think that is actually good with Pro Studios, and this is in my experience, because I've done it a couple of times, not for a very long time, but in the past I did it because I only had a 4-track. Like back in the 4-track tape days, Pro Studios were kind of essential because there wasn't really a viable alternative. So the reason I went down that is that it actually gives you some positive time pressure. When you're recording and when you're paying someone to record your songs, you have to bring it, right? You have to have your songs written. You have to have them completely ready to go. You need to know how to play them and play them well. You can't faff about. You can't pissy pants about, as our friend Jamie Ballard would say. You just have to get on and do it. And if you don't, guess what? It's your hard-earned that you're putting up. Whereas I think in the home studio, we do get this luxury of not having to have that pressure, which is both good, but it can also be bad. It can mean that it's going to take you months and if not years to create something that maybe you could knock out in a home studio within just a short period of time. So I'm interested in your thoughts, and I'll jump into those because we've got a few other comments here first about the concert. Styx was great in concert. Jeff Brush, I think the last show was Shinedown Hailstorm. RX2 says the last big concert was Roger Waters, Us and Them. Yep, can't remember the exact year. December 2019 in the Florida Keys. Acoustic bar type shows. Very cool. Very cool. Quoted Quote says, I think there's a hidden gem out there. What was the name? Quoted something. Oh, it's Quoted Quotes. Tell me about your channel. There you go. You've got an audience here. Let us know about your channel and what it is. Are you late? Yes, just a little bit, but that's all right. We're here for a while. It's all good. Jay says, I think Pro Studios will always be relevant. The other thing, my other point on Pro Studios is I think that the benefit of a Pro Studio is also that if you don't want to know about the recording, there are artists out there, plenty of them. I know in this community, we love the tech, we love the gear, we love doing the recording. There are people out there that just want to get on and just make music. Like they just want to play their music and they want someone else to do all the knob twiddling. They want someone else to worry about the mixes and worry about the faders and do all of that sort of thing. So I think there is always going to be a market for that. More and more we're seeing with that market is that people can record themselves, because all we really need is a decent quality microphone, a nice, relatively quiet space, and you can record yourself into your phone running GarageBand. You can then send that off to someone who can do all the heavy lifting of mixing and mastering and all of that. So I think those sort of services are also going to continue increasing. Clayton Von Clue says, I recorded in a Pro Studio twice, once in the 80s and a few times in the early 2000s. Yeah, and I think a lot of folks are similar to that. Like mine was in the 90s that I recorded, and I think that was the last time I recorded in what you'd call a Pro Studio. So, yeah. Lex Redrum said, I would like to record in a Pro Studio maybe when I'm in university because the uni I want to go to has one. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you go to the right schools, they have some pretty good recording kit in there. Yes. What have we got here? I just believe the gap between pro and home will become less. Yeah, I think it's already happening. I think the gap between pro studios and home studios is decreasing. You really can't tell. If you listen to a song now by any artist, whether that was recorded in their bedroom or whether it was recorded in a pro studio, you used to be able to really tell the difference. Now, I don't think most people would be able to hear or tell the difference at all. Jeff Brush, I guess there will always be people who want to record with real hardware. Yeah, and I guess there's people that still want to record to tape. They want to see all the dials. They want to see all the sliders and all the gear and all the kit. For me, yeah, it overwhelms me. I like the idea of having everything in the box because it just it makes it it makes it easier for me to get my head around. Tom says there's always wealthy legacy artists who will keep at least the better pro studios. Yeah, and I think so, and I think that's the difference. I think when people say, like most industries, I mean, there are still newspapers, yeah, there's still radio stations, there's still books being sold in bookstores, there's still record stores, but it's the cream of the crop, yeah. The best record stores are still open. The best newspapers are still printing. So it does mean that in terms of a pro studio, if you were running a just average pro studio and you were in like the bottom 20% of all pro studios, and demand reduces by 20%, guess where that demand goes from? It goes from the bottom end. Like the top studios that are producing really good quality music are going to continue getting work because people just want that level of professionalism to be able to do it. Yeah, Dan Ekberg, you have to go into a studio ready to go. Absolutely, you have to absolutely be ready to rock and roll. Quoted quotes. It's famous quotes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nice. I like it. Do you ever get those quotes that are attributed to people, like the Einstein one that's not actually by Einstein? What is it? Like doing something a different way and expecting a different result, but it's not actually an Einstein quote, but everyone quotes it to them. There's lots of those. Go through the internet and you'll find the same quote and it'll say like 4 different people said it, depending on what it is. Clayton Vaucluse, can I sample your voice from the shows and incorporate it into songs? We'll give you pre-clear your voice samples for me. Yeah, so here's the thing. We'll talk actually about sampling and looping later and about content ID and copyright because there's some interesting things. That the song that I played at the start there, I only played a little clip of it because when I was creating that song, the instrumental version of it actually got a copyright claim from a song that it said it sounded like. So I don't put content ID on any of my material, and I basically have an open policy of if you want to take whatever I do and sample it, use it, create with it, remix it, redo it, more power to you. In fact, Joey Helpish took my entire 2018 album Selfish Aware and remixed and reimagined every single song, and I thought it was super cool. I gave him permission and he asked because it's always good to ask permission from someone to do something, but yeah. You have the right and you have my permission. Consider it granted, unless you're going to do something and make fun of me. That would not be very fun. That would not be very nice. But in terms of actually using anything that I do in my music, in what I do, the only thing I'd ask you don't do is then add content ID to that. 'Cause the last thing I want to do is create my music, put it in my shows, and then someone else releases my stuff and they claim the content ID, and then I'm in copyright trouble from my own song that someone else has copywritten, which is happening. And has happened and will continue to happen. We will talk about that in a little bit because it's an interesting topic that we'll talk about. Jade Star says, I've recorded in pro studios that were in a crappy garage at the back of someone's house. It's quite hard to define pro. Exactly. And that's another good point. I should probably not say pro studio. What would be another word for it? I guess, it's really hard, isn't it? Because the lines are blurred, yeah. There are pro studios that are literally in people's bedrooms because the definition of professional just means you make money from doing it. So if you're charging someone to record in your studio and it just happens to be in the front room of your house like mine is, then you're a pro. It's kind of as simple as that. So yeah. We'll see how we go. Tom Rochelle says the accessibility of recording software and equipment means more people can go into business recording. So there's another angle. Yeah, exactly. So Tom can be recording other people, and I've suggested to Tom he does because he records and mixes and masters his own music. I think that Tom should branch out and start doing that for other people because especially those creating industrial music, Tom is now what I'd consider a pro at recording things in the studio. And that's fine. If you're kind of kidding, that's cool too. But yeah, you absolutely can, and people have done that. Jade's made a whole career out of just taking samples of Doug's videos from the sound test room and turning those into memes. So yeah, are pro studios still relevant? Yeah, I think so. And I think having an actual physical studio or having studios with outboard gear, it's like saying again, like there'll be a certain subset of people. It may be less, and that's the thing. When I hear that the majority of the complaints I hear about the good old days from people that have been in the business a long time are that there's not this just absolute wealth of recording artists and labels that are coming to them and saying, hey, please, here's $1 million budget, record an album. That doesn't happen so much anymore. And there's not as much of it because even though there's a whole lot more music being recorded, the home recording industry has basically sucked up a lot of that and is actually taking away from it. Again, what is it taking away from? Well, it's taking away from the bottom 20%. And it's the same in any industry. When you say, this industry's struggling or dying and it's because people are doing whatever, it's only the people that are at the bottom end of those. Yeah, look, there's some industries that are completely going away. But you know what Uber did? You know what Uber did to the taxi industry? It made the taxi industry have to lift their game. So before Uber, you call a taxi and it was a clunky experience and there was no online way to order it and it would arrive maybe sometimes. Uber came in and said, hey, we've got a better way. We're going to do it this way. And the taxi industry spent a year complaining and yelling and screaming. But then the smart ones said, hey, nothing's stopping us from borrowing the Uber model and putting that into our taxi model. So it's the same sort of thing. And in fact, some pro recording studios are now actually getting clients that are not physically going to the studios. They're helping, they're smart. They're helping their clients record decent quality audio, again, a microphone into your iPhone, record it at 24-bit 44.1. That's going to be decent enough audio to then put in and then mix in your pro studio. So the smart audio engineers, the smart studio owners are not going boo-hoo, the old model is dead, what am I going to do? They're going, hey, how do I leverage this new model and how do I utilize some of the home recording principles in a pro studio environment? I think those are the folks that are going to crush it and succeed in 2021. Uber, there you go. Uber. Quoted quotes, I just narrate for audio, but I admire musicians. And that's the thing, creating is creating. And create audio, video, art, whatever it is, it's all relevant. Let's jump over. I like looking at this every now and then. We'll go to Google Trends because I like to actually search. If you've never played with Google Trends before, it's a heck of a lot of fun. Let's jump over here and take a quick squiz. So Google Trends, you can actually search for what people are searching for. So for me, I quite often come in here and look up GarageBand for obvious reasons that I'm a GarageBand creator and this channel is all about GarageBand. So what you notice from this is that about this time last year, we had a massive spike. If we bring this out and make it surpassed for the past 5 years, look at the spike we had in GarageBand around the start of the pandemic. Yeah, it was massive, right? So the amount of search traffic went up significantly. The amount of interest in GarageBand went up. It's then dropped off a little bit again. And now it's sort of back down here, sort of similar to where it's been in the past. So we've definitely seen that. Let's do something, let's compare it in fact, because you can compare two different things. If we say search for home studio, let's do this as a search term and see what home studio has done. Same sort of thing, but it hasn't had quite the same level of spike, but it's still interesting. If we go recording studio, what's this done? Has this done the same sort of thing? Yeah, so similar, but we haven't seen that spike. So it's definitely clear that it was home recording and especially GarageBand that had a big lift in interest. And it's only just sort of started to come off again because a lot of new people got into using GarageBand there. What if we search Pro Tools? Pro Tools has the interest. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people still, but again, when you get into the more generic terms, it does make it a bit harder. It's not the same. But yeah, it's very fun. If you've never played around with Google Trends, it is a good thing to do. You can work out what is popular and what is not. So for instance, there's some terms that just weren't popular at all. So if you search Bitcoin in here, what you see is, yeah, in 2017, it was like, what the heck is this Bitcoin thing? And a bunch of nerds like jumped onto it and went, wow, Bitcoin's amazing. And then, it kind of got, and see, this is the period where all of the very smart people were investing in Bitcoin, but it didn't have the interest. And now the cryptocurrency is taking off. Way, hello, everyone's back in. They're like, wait, maybe we should actually look at this cryptocurrency stuff. And yeah, it's interesting. You can do that with any sort of topic. If you're looking to create and you're creating tutorial videos or anything in particular, but even if you're just doing topical content, Google Trends can be a cool thing to check out because you can see what is actually trending and you can see if there's actual interest in the thing that you're talking about. G'day to some folks that have joined us here. We have Russ. G'day, Russ. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Who else we got? Greg Hernandez, Mars Capone himself in the house. O'Neill and Jones, wonderful acoustic duo. Would you call yourselves an acoustic duo? Create really good music anyway. Very, very nice. Tom Rochelle says, yeah, probably because many people have GarageBand already on their phone or Mac. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, they do. Let's move on, shall we, to our next topic. And why don't we jump over? Because I want to talk about loops and copyright. So the way this works is that if you use anything that you don't create, there is a problem that you can get into trouble with copyright. Now, there's two camps on this. There's people that don't worry enough about copyright, and there's people that worry far too much, in my experience anyway. I think you have to be somewhere in the middle. You need to have a logical, common sense approach, but not freak out and worry too much about it. Now, here on YouTube, well, one of the places I'm on is YouTube. Facebook and Twitch are kind of similar. You do need to be careful. If you're using any content, and here's the thing, people talk about fair use. Fair use doesn't mean that as long as you only use 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds of a clip, then it's okay. It's got nothing to do with the length. It is to do with how you actually apply it. And fair use isn't a defense. So you can't just say, if you put out something and you've sampled, say, 10 seconds of a movie, and then you get a copyright claim from Warner that say, hey, we own that 10 seconds of audio of that movie. We would like to block this video, or we're giving you a copyright claim, meaning if you're making revenue from that video, then it's going to all go to the original artist or the owner of that copyright. You can't then just say, oh, I dispute that because fair use. It's not actually, that's not how it works. Fair use is a legal term. It's a legal principle that if you are then taken to court and you have to defend your use of copyrighted material, you can then prove in a court of law that it was for fair use. It is not just a get out of jail free card that you just say fair use and then it all goes away. It can work. When it works, it's usually more because the other party doesn't have the time, money, effort to actually chase it up and follow it down. So you can just dispute the claim, win the claim, and then be on your way. But it doesn't always work that way, and it's not actually your right to use anything. The way copyright works in the absolute basic level here is if you're using a loop or a sample, and someone owns that, they've created it, and they say, hey, this is my work, and I own and protect the copyright of this particular loop or sample, and then you choose to use it, they are within their rights to then claim that and say, actually, no. And the claims can come in different forms. It can be, here on YouTube, it can be, hey, it's a copyright claim, meaning that it's an automated thing. The robots listen in and they hear that sound and they go, yep, that's Pete Johns' loop. And then instead of any revenue you make from that video going to you, it'll say, this was owned by Pete Johns, Studio Live today, here's the claim, and then it will automatically channel any revenue. So whenever I do a weekly show called Your Music Live. Whenever I do YML, I go through this. In fact, I'll show you some examples in a minute because it's easier to see how it all works if I actually show you the behind the scenes. That doesn't mean you can never use any loops. So for instance, if I'm using GarageBand, because I do use GarageBand often, let's load up GarageBand so that we can show you what we're talking about here. GarageBand tells you in its manual on Apple's website that anything in here, any of the loops, any of the autoplays, any of the instruments that you use in here are able to be used for commercial releases. So that's the best kind of thing. That's the best licensing you can get because there's a couple of ways. There's able to be used for commercial use. There is able to be used for personal use, which means you can use them and play with them, but you can't ever release a song that you're going to sell for money if you use it. And then there's able to be used with attribution, which means that if you release a song, if you release a video, you need to attribute that loop or sample to the person. So in your description, you'll need to say, this is using loops from Pete Johns, and then that will be fine. But for Apple, they say you can use any of this stuff. So if I just came in and created a song, let's create us a new song, and we want to use some loops, yeah? So we're going to go into the audio recorder here. Yep, we're going to turn on monitoring, and we're going here. We can utilize any of these amazing Apple audio loops that we want to and be absolutely fine. So we can grab this snappy hi-hat, turn up the volume here, and we can throw that into our track. Now, what I can't do is just release this loop. So if I was just playing this loop and I go ahead and export this and then I say, hey, Pete's great hi-hat loops pack, just download all these hi-hats. No, that's the one thing Apple say you can't do. And it's the same for a lot of these companies because if they're selling you the loops to use in your commercial tracks, or in the case of GarageBand, they're giving it away for free, they're okay with you using it. They just don't want you to resell the individual loops because that's what they're doing. But as long as you're combining this with at least one other sound. So if we came in here and we went in, got to get rid of my drums, don't I? Filter by, we'll take the Ultimate 808 sound pack off, give us all the sound packs there. So if we wanted something to go along with this, we wanted some kind of cool bass. We can search bass. Don't know why I keep saying it like that. We can grab this 80s game synth bass and throw this in here. Now, technically, these two together now that is fine. I could release this now as Video Game Craze by Pete Johns. The problem is, someone has almost definitely used exactly this. In fact, I'm kind of living on the edge just playing these right now because someone has probably already used just those two samples together in a song. And if they have, and if they've applied Content ID to it, then I can land myself in some hot water because they can say, actually, Pete, you are ripping me off here, buddy. You're using something I've already done. So my recommendation is to always change this stuff, to add some effects, to change it up. So let's just come in here. We'll turn this up like 3 semitones. We can come in here. We can add some effects to this. So let's put like a cool sort of delay effect on this. We'll come in here. We'll go to effects, we'll put some track echo to delay on here, a quarter note delay on there, and we'll grab this one, and we'll add some, what will we add on this one? A kind of flange, I reckon is going to be cool on this. So we'll throw a flanger on this, and obviously we'd play around with this more, but then we're going to get something like this. Now, the chance that anyone's done exactly those things with those effects in that key is now slimming down. And of course, you're probably ahead of me here, as soon as we start adding in something else, so let's say we wanted to put an epic bass drum in here, we can go kick drum, because that's what Americans call it, apparently. We can come in here and put the big room kick in here, and then drag that on across. Now we're getting somewhere, yeah? Because no one's ever done anything exactly like that, right? Yeah, try it backwards, Pete. Yeah, try it backwards. So yeah, exactly. You can try it backwards. So you can turn these things around. What if we take this bass and we flip it? We reverse it. Then you can get an even different sound. What are we getting here? Oh, I like it. That's it. And yeah, that cool delay effect that we've got on there. So use loops, use samples. Don't stress so much about copyright, but keep in mind that what you're trying to do is make sure that you're not sounding like you're ever just using that one sample, that one loop at a time. Otherwise, you can land yourself into some trouble. Clayton Von Kluge saying that's the way it was explained to me too. Yeah, about copyright infringement with Apple loops. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I like it more backwards. I like it more backwards as well. I'm glad. Yeah, hopefully you like the whole point of this show is to just share some stuff that I've been thinking about. And a lot of the stuff we talk about in this show is answering questions or covering topics that people have asked about in the comments of other videos. So if you've ever got a question, if you ever want something answered, or if you've got an idea, do throw it into a comment of another video, because I read every single one of them. I reply to as many as I can, almost every one I reply to. And yeah, hopefully you can help and learn something. Lex Redrum says, so me using an Apple loop in a song I'm working on right now doesn't matter. No, not at all. Here's the thing though, some distributors and some places where you'll release your song say you have to tick a box saying, I have not used any loops or samples or third-party things that I don't own. Now, technically, ticking that is not right if you've used GarageBand loops, but I tick it anyway because what that's saying, that's there to protect you from releasing something that you've used sampling of someone else's music that you don't have the rights to do so. So with GarageBand and with any packs of loops that you buy, that you own, that you've purchased, that you are able to use, you can go ahead and use them yourself. Dan Ekberg says, I wonder if anyone's gotten a claim when they transpose keys, like playing Wonderful Thought down a couple of steps. Wonderful Tonight. Yeah, so, and it does work that way. So when I do my happy hour show, I'll show you a couple. Let's jump in and take a look, shall we? Because, yeah, I'll show you a couple of things here on my channel, because it will help you actually understand how this all works at the back end. So I do 2 shows every week. I do a happy hour show where I play cover songs, and then I play actual songs on Your Music Live. So there's 2 different things at play here. There's covering a song, which often results in revenue sharing, and then there is playing someone's song, which results in revenue being sent to the person who has the copyright claim on that song. So I haven't even checked these yet. So I'm going to jump in here and we'll go to my last episode of Your Music Live, which if you don't know what that is, it's where we play songs from the community. So if you have a song, if you're an independent artist and you want your song shared on Your Music Live, studiolivetoday.com/YML is the place you want to go. So let's go to my last episode, and I can see here that I'm ineligible. I've got a copyright claim on this. So when we come here, I'll just make sure there's nothing on this screen you can't see. When we come here to my screen, here it is. Here's my thumbnail. Here's my description, my title, everything here. Restrictions, copyright claims. So and if I want to see the details of these, I can actually see it here. So let's click this one and let's see what the copyright summary status is. There you go. So because I play about 50 songs on Your Music Live, I will inevitably get a selection of copyright claims like this. Now, copyright claims will not affect your channel. As it says here, it says not affected. The content ID claim on your video doesn't affect your channel. This is not a copyright. This is not a copyright strike. So I'm not being punished for this. This is just telling me that because I'm part of the YouTube partner program, which means ads will run on my videos, which means I make money. I get paid revenue from Google for running ads on my videos. This is just telling me that, as you can see over here, I'm ineligible for that. Video cannot be monetized. So I can't actually make, I can learn more there. And what that learn more will say is that any revenue from any advertising that Google choose to place on this video will go to these parties, not to me. And this is totally fair. So here's the thing. We'll talk a bit later because Rick Beato famously uses a lot of other people's songs in his What's Great About This Song series, which is cool, and it's a cool series. The problem is that if that artist, because fair use is such a slippery slope and legal mumbo jumbo, if that artist just says, hey, you've used some of my song, I own that, they actually have the right, again, within YouTube system, but also within the legal system, they have the right to say, I would like to take all the revenue from that video. But what they can also do, and thankfully, I haven't yet had an independent artist that I've played on Your Music Live that's done this, but it'll happen. It's only a matter of time. They can actually choose to block. They can put a takedown notice or they can block the video. So you'll notice here, this visibility says public. Everyone can see this video. So it's not been blocked for anyone to view, but it has actually been copyright claimed. And it's been claimed because I played these songs. So on Oh My Snowman by Christine Brunette, that's one of the songs we played. More Than Yesterday by Scott Christ, that's one of the songs we played. Sexy by DJ Verta, that's the song that I actually got claimed on. We played it as the toilet break song on the show this week, because I thought it was kind of funny that it's the song that my song, it said it sounded like. And hey, at the end of this video, because I played that for like 5 seconds at the start, we'll see. Maybe we'll get a copyright claim on this video for it based on that song, even though it's the song that I created. You Took Me by the Sonic Dream Believers. Yep, Head Rush by Drown Me Out, and Sweet Dreams by Hal Bradley. Now, the reason that not everyone is on here is that some people haven't actually got Content ID on their songs. So to get Content ID on a song or on a video or on something you've released, it needs to actually be submitted to YouTube's Content ID system. What YouTube's Content ID system does is it goes through and it listens to, it creates a digital fingerprint of that song. And then when it hears that song being played, it goes, aha, I know that song. It is Oh My Snowman by Christine Brunette. And it will say, okay, Pete, it's cool. Don't worry. You're not in trouble, buddy. But you definitely played this song by this artist, and we're going to put a copyright claim. Now, as you can see, sometimes it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it claims a song that's not the actual song. And that's where we get these false positives, and that's what gets people frustrated with the system. The other thing that gets people like Rick Beato frustrated with the system is that when you're trying to use these things for educational purposes to promote the song. So on this show, I'm promoting independent artists. I'm utilizing this platform to promote them. And you might be saying, well, why are they turning around and copyright claiming you? They're not, but their distributor is. So what we'll notice here is if we come in here, are we going to be able to see the details of any of these? Yep, there we go. So there's Oh My Snowman. I played the song, and what it says here is copyright owners, The Orchard Music on behalf of Moores Keller Records. So that's who actually owns that one. If we come down here to Scott Grice, there you go. So Scott Grice, copyright owners, Intra Street Records on behalf of Records DK. So we know that this one is a DistroKid. So what Scott has done, and this is totally within his rights too, Scott has released this song using DistroKid. I release songs using DistroKid too. And when you release songs using DistroKid, what actually happens is you've got a choice in there. You can actually add YouTube Content ID. It does cost extra. How much does it cost? I can't remember at the moment. Might as well give you the full picture on this one, yeah? We'll come in here to DistroKid and we'll pretend we're uploading a new tune. And I'll let you know how much it costs you extra. So let's say I've come in here, I'm releasing a new song, it's a single, I do all my stuff here, I get everything set up. Here it is, $4.95 per year plus 20% of the ad revenues from matches we detect. So if I turn that on, I pay an extra $5 a year per song, and then every single time that song is heard on YouTube, then I actually will get a copyright claim, meaning it'll come back to me. So if I wanted to do this, I could go back retrospectively and go to all of my songs here. I could go to my music. Let's just say that I'm sick of people using Murdering Time in their videos and I'm not getting a gosh darn cent from it. Well, I could actually come in here and turn on YouTube Content ID. And that way, anytime someone plays Murdering Time, it will actually do this. It'll go through this process and it will copyright claim that song. So that is a 100% legitimate way that people can do that. So again, I don't begrudge anyone from doing that, but you do need to keep in mind that it's a robot. It's an automated system, and it's just putting it in there. So who's to blame? It's not the artist. It's not the distributor. It's not the record label generally. Usually, it's YouTube's Content ID system. But keep in mind, a lot of the time I see people talking about this, and they're like, I can't believe that blah, 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 that YouTube did this. No, because the reason that this will never happen to me is that I don't put Content ID on any of my songs. And that's a choice that I make. For people that choose to put Content ID on their songs, this will happen. And it just means it makes it tricky for other people to actually play their songs. So that's where it's at. Now, I'll just see, I've ranted for a while there. I'll see if anyone's got any comments on this. We'll go right back here. Greg says, Jade remastered a tune that's already on Spotify, but I'm so confused by the process to update a song with a better mix and master on DistroKid. So, and this is related here. Absolutely related, so we can talk. But yeah, what you do have to do, Greg, is if it's the audio, you do need to remove it. You need to actually completely remove it and re-upload it. I actually have a video. Let me just find the video. I think if you just search my name, Pete Johns, which is me, Pete Johns DistroKid re-release, I think you'll find the video where I show it. Yeah. So I actually went through this whole process with a song recently, Greg. So if you've got a better version that you want to do, what you need to do is go into DistroKid. It shows you how to do. So the first part of this video shows you how to remove it, which is linked in the description of that one. And then you need to basically remove it, but take note of the ISRC number and then re-release it. Make sure that everything else matches perfectly except for the audio file, and it should be fine. And also wait about 3 to 5 days from when you remove it to when you re-upload it, because if there's crossover, Apple Music and Spotify and other places can get their knickers in a twist about that. So hopefully that helps you out with that one there. Hello, you're here. We were waiting. We're waiting for Philips Sim Trizilla to arrive. Now we can go and start playing the special music. I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm a little tired. Like I said, I've had a day off, and it's getting back into the swing of things. Clayton Von Clue says, I'm getting paranoid to even use autoplay on GarageBand. I've got a couple of tricks and techniques of my own, though. Yeah, just change it up, just mix it up, just change things, and that's how it will work. I'll just have a look. So we've got any other questions? Bailey says, I honestly believe that people who use GarageBand are some of the most humble, talented, and creative people. Your mind is nothing but a magnet to what you want. Just let your ambition carry you. Love it. Beautifully said. Agree. Just going to go ahead and get a copyright attorney. Yeah, exactly. Hello, Joe. What do you know? Popping in to say hello. I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. The algorithms don't make things any better or easier. Yeah, and look, anytime you've got a robot doing the thinking, it's going to get it wrong sometimes. There's going to be false positives as well. Dan Ekberg says, I did that Rolling Stones cover on the last YML. Did they claim? So no, they haven't seemed to. Let's just go back there. So you're right. I did play a Rolling Stones cover from Dan Ekberg on my show. Covers are a bit weird because it depends. It depends how exactly similar you are to the original. And there's different types that we won't go into the detail here because we've already talked a lot about copyright, but there's different ways. So it can be the melody that the copyright is on. It can be the actual audio that the copyright is on. So where it detects the melody, that's basically a cover song. It says, hey, it sounds like you're doing this melody, and I'll show you one of those in a minute, actually. I'll show you one on my my covers show that I did recently. But on these ones, what you'll notice it say is that, that this is actually the song. So I can see if we hover over this one, audio claim. So there's audio claims, there's video claims, and there's melody claims. So they're the three. But no, we're safe here because we didn't get any copyright claim from the Rolling Stones. So Mick and Keith will have to go without that can of baked beans this week because they won't get any of that revenue. That sweet, sweet revenue. Let's go and show you the other side of this. So I know many folks also do cover songs and want to know about releasing cover songs on YouTube. And it's a similar sort of thing. If we go to my Happy Hour America edition that I did yesterday, I'm sure we got some copyright claims on here. Yes, we have. Has not let me down. So here you can see restrictions, copyright claim. Let's see the deets, shall we, of the copyright claim. How many of these got copyrighted? Wow, was it only New York, New York? That's amazing. I obviously played the other songs very poorly. We're going to have to take a look. Or what is more often the case is the other ones just haven't come through. So I use New York, New York, owned by PIL Limited on behalf of of that. So because I used a backing track, now this is a weird one because it looks like they've got copyright content ID on the backing track of a song that they were using anyway. So this is where it gets a bit Inception, because all I did was use a karaoke backing track of New York, New York to sing along to. So instead of being claimed by the estate of Frank Sinatra or whoever owns his record rights now, I've actually been claimed by someone who's done a cover. So their original video would probably have a claim back to Frank, and now I've got a claim to them. So it creates this unique trail of claiming that's kind of weird. It's a bit bizarre, isn't it? So yeah, there it is. That's where it's at. Yeah, yeah. Just quickly get in there and copyright anything that I've played, and there you get there. Jeff Brush is saying, I feel like Don Henley gets any copyright claims texted directly to him. Yeah, I think Don Henley, there's a bit of a meme, bit of a joke that the Eagles are like one of the worst or best bands when it comes to copyright claims. They seem to be all over any Eagles tunes that you may choose to play. Sorry, I was getting a bit parched and thirsty there. Tom Rochelle's got it covered. In part, in short, be kind, don't use content ID. Yeah, look, I don't think it's actually valuable personally, but then again, I'm a content creator, so maybe I don't think it's valuable because I always have to manage the claims. But I don't think you're going to make that much money. Like, it's rare that people are going to make their $5 back. When you think of how much your song would have to be used by a very popular video before you're going to be making actual foldable money from doing this stuff. More often, you're going to be getting the rats and mice, the little bits there. Let's just see if we've got any other questions. I don't think so. Tom says, I performed 2 covers on my last live show and 0 claims. Other times, they even claim while I'm playing the song. Yeah, exactly. So it is very, very, very... very variable. Clayton Von Clue says Rolling Stones did take legal action against the Verve. Yeah, you can read up on that. There was a whole big thing with Rolling Stones and the Verve and Bittersweet Symphony. Exactly. Yeah, Greg says that is settled. Verve is splitting royalties now. Exactly. And it is a great song. But yeah, it is using a sample, and you do have to be careful with that. That's too bad because I really like Joe Walsh and the Eagles too. I won't say that word because I'm pretty sure there's probably a search term that's anytime you say Eagles and that W word, that probably gets an automatic claim. Just because. Let's just, before we finish up, I'll just quickly show you the other type. So because we didn't have any claims on the cover songs because they probably haven't caught up to them yet, let's go to last week's because I know I got a bunch of claims on last week's Happy Hour. We did a request show on the Happy Hour last week. So, yep, that has not disappointed. There's our copyright claim. So we can click this. We can go to see the details. And who got us? Well, there you go. So pretty much about half of them. So I think I played 12 songs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. I played well enough for them to be recognised. So we got a little bit of cash going here to Sony for the Queen cover I did of Somebody to Love. Patience by Gunners is going over to... Oh, it doesn't even tell me who owns it. Nobody owns it. Axel, get your stuff into gear, buddy. No one owns your song. We've got I Was Made for Loving You, which is a Kiss tune. So, oh my God, look who owns that. Everybody in the world owns that, apparently. Golden Slumber, of course, Beatles tunes. Sony have got that one covered as well. Indifference by Pearl Jam. A whole bunch of different... And the reason there's all these different publishers is that they may be actually published by a different company in each different region. So whenever you see a bunch of these, you'll notice that some of them are in different languages. So it's like Warner Chappell, which is probably the Australian one. It's Amra, Cobalt Music Publishing. There's Latin ones in there. Sony ATV, which would be the US one. So yeah, it gets very convoluted and complicated. And then 1985 is a UMPG and Sony ATV. So yeah, it's going to do that. And again, you can see they're monetized in some territories. So you can see it'll still be monetized. And in this one, as opposed to the revenue there saying, I'm getting nothing, not monetized, it's sharing, which means I basically cut of the 70% that Google give us as creators, I then split that 50-50 with the original artist. So you get about 35% of your revenue as opposed to the 70 that you usually get. So hopefully that helps you out. But here's as Tom said, if you're releasing music and you don't want to be in any of this stuff, just don't add content ID. If you're doing videos or you're using other people's music, expect that you are going to get a copyright claim if you're making a cover or if you're utilizing other people's music. That's just going to happen. And the safest way is to just be 100% originally, and you'll be fine. So there you go. Greg says that Kiss song was the first I ever learned. Yeah, it's a good song. I like to do a nice laid back version of it. I think it was Gene Simmons who tried to claim he owned a Happy Birthday. Wouldn't surprise me. He's a wacky dude, Gene. All right. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is the Creator Town Hall, and it's brought to you by me. It's brought to you by the Studio Today Gear Guide, so you can jump over to studiolivetoday.com/gear, and if you make purchases from there, those are affiliate links, meaning they will break off a chunk and send it my way. But you can see there, we've got my whole setup there: audio interfaces, headphones, guitars, keyboards, microphones, Bluetooth speakers, anything that you could desire. And then I've got my categories here. So I've got all the stuff that I've used and recommended over the last few years. It's all there and it's all ready for you, including this section here on cables. And in fact, I've got a whole separate cable guide, which I've got to find here. Under the links, there's a cable guide here. And I mentioned that because the next thing we're going to talk about is related to that. And it is mics versus line versus instrument level. So hands up, who knows the difference between a mic level, an instrument level, and a line level, and when you should and shouldn't use each one? I kind of do, but I must admit, I do have to refresh myself from time to time because it's a bit of a minefield. So I thought we'll go through and talk about it a little bit here today. And if you've got questions or if you've got your own experience with this stuff, then you can throw that here in the chat as well. But yeah, if you go to studiolivetoday.com/cables, you'll get to my cable guide here because you'll need different types of cables depending on whether you're recording a microphone, an instrument, or a line level device. So what are we talking about here? What do I mean? Well, first of all, let's go. We'll go back, in fact. We'll go back to that's my merch. That's not my gear. We'll go back to the gear guide here. And if we go and take a look at some popular audio interfaces. So now I show the Steinberg UI22C a lot because it's what I use, but I know a lot of folks love the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. So let's jump in and we'll take a look at the classic Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. In fact, this is the 2i2 3rd gen. This is the updated version. And I'm going to show you this because this will help us understand a little bit about the different levels, the different signal levels that are actually going into your gear. And it is the line level, the instrument level, or the microphone level. We'll start with mic. So you'll see here that these are what's called a combo jack, meaning that they have this jack here. You can plug a 1/4-inch cable into the middle there, or you can plug a XLR cable into the outside. So let's start with XLR cables. If we go back to my gear guide and we go into the cable guide down here, up here even, you'd think I know my own gear guide a little bit better than this. Good work, Pete. I promise it's so easy to use. There you go. There's an XLR cable. So this is what an XLR cable looks like, right? Amazon Basics. I've bought it, as you can see. At one end, it looks like that. The other end, it looks like that. That end plugs into your microphone. So you grab your microphone, like the one I've got in front of me here. You plug that in. The other end, these 3 prongs, they go into your audio interface, which looks a little something like that. So that goes in there. Now, if you're using a microphone, you need to use an XLR cable. I know a lot of microphones these days, especially cheaper ones, do come with a 1/4-inch cable. That is only going to be good if it is a dynamic microphone, so it doesn't need any phantom power, and you're plugging it into a powered amplifier. So you're plugging it into literally a guitar amp or into a mixing desk that is powered. If you're doing anything else, you need what is called a preamp, which is the pre-amplifier that the audio interface will give you. So your microphone level coming out of your microphone is a pretty low level signal, yeah? That's why you need to be careful of this stuff. So you need to go into a preamp and you need to actually gain that up. So you plug it in, you turn up your gain to the right level, you've got a nice healthy signal. Now, if you're using an instrument, so a guitar, a bass guitar, anything that is non-powered, so you can get pickup, you can get like amplifier guitars and things, but your majority, 95, 98% of your guitars are going to be unpowered, and you need to actually have your audio interface in instrument mode. Now, the reason I really don't like the Scarlett 2i2, the new version, is see how it's got this little light there, the instrument light. Actually, no, these ones you can. These ones you can use the button to turn it on. It's the 4i4 that you don't. The 4i4, you have to control it by software, but the 2i2 you can. So if you plug in and you're plugging in a guitar, you need to press that button to turn it into instrument mode. Otherwise, it's going to be expecting a line level signal and it's not going to be loud enough. So if you have it as an instrument level, then it's going to make sure it gives it enough gain increase to actually get it up to a proper level. The third one is your line level. Now, and of course, that uses a 1/4-inch cable. So we'll take a step back here. If we go back to our cables, that uses something like this, a TS or an unbalanced cable. This happens to be a double one, more for your audio gear, but you know what a guitar cable looks like. Yeah, you want to use a standard 1/4-inch unbalanced cable to actually connect up your guitars or your other instrument. The last one is line level signal. So if we come in here and we look at this one, a TRS balanced cable, the difference here is you can see the little knobbly bit at the end there has a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. It's got 3 little bits there to connect up. Now, most of your audio gear that uses a line level is going to be TRS, and then when you plug it into your studio gear, I've lost all my links now, you plug it into the middle of that one, into the 1/4-inch jack, you need to make sure the instrument light is off. So what is a line level signal? Well, it's if you're coming out of a mixer, or if you're coming out of your phone, that's already got an amplified signal, or if you're coming out of a synthesizer or a keyboard. Anything that's already amplifying the signal is going to send it at line level. So you need to make sure your instrument light there is off. Now let's have another look at a few different audio interfaces in case you're rocking something else. So if we go to my favorite classic interface, which is the Steinberg UR12, and we take a look at this one. This one makes things a bit easier for you because this doesn't have line level signals. And a lot of these single channel ones, even though it's 2 channels, you call this a single channel interface because it's only a microphone and an instrument. So high Z or high Z is another way of saying instrument level signal. So this particular one in the Steinberg UR12, you can't put a line level instrument in this one. It has to either be a microphone or that one there, or your instrument cable, your TS instrument cable. That's all that's supported there. If you upgrade to the UR22C, which is the next level up Steinberg, then you actually get the ability to have a line level signal there. So there you can see. You can plug it in. It's mic or line by default, and only input 2 is instrument, and you have to click this little high Z button over here to actually turn it into instrument mode. So there you go. Simple way to go is microphone, always use an XLR, has to go into the 3-prong balance connection. Anything that's an instrument that is not amplified like a guitar needs to go into an instrument or a high Z, high Z input, and anything that is a line level, make sure it's set to line level or it's going to absolutely overload and blow and you're going to get some digital clipping in your life, which as we know, nobody wants themselves some digital clipping. So hopefully that helped you out if you've got any questions along those. And yeah, you can definitely check out the gear recommendations with the affiliate links there. JMDN says, I accidentally copyright claim myself once with my own music. So yeah, so when I say that I've never used copyright claim, that's not 100% true because I actually have a copyright claim on one of my own songs that is from my own song. I'm just going to try and find out which one it is. I think it might be this one. I may not be able to find it on the fly here, but I know where I can get to it. It wasn't this one. But my song Goats. So I released a song called Goats, and if I search Pete Johns Goats, I actually released it with, here it is. So I released it under my band name Fear Cut, and I released it through a distributor called Amuse. And Amuse released it, and one of Amuse's cool features is that they have automatic copyright claim. Yay! They put Content ID on for free. Now, they don't anymore on the free plan. You have to do the pro plan to get copyright Content ID for free. Well, no, not for free. To get Content ID at all. But back in the day, they actually had it. So I won't play the song for the obvious reasons here, but there it is. So there's the original version on my Fear Cut topic channel there. And as you can see there, it says provided by YouTube by Amuse.io, AB, Goats, blah, 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 blah. However, here is the lyric video to Goats, and I'm going to click onto here. I've got the volume down, again, for obvious reasons. There's the music video to it. If we actually go, oh, look how many people dislike Goats. Oh, but Goats are cool, man. All right, let's go into... Let's go into edit the video. Sorry, I don't actually mind about that. So look at this. Restrictions. Copyright claim. Yeah, I got a copyright claim on my own lyric video. And if we come in here and take a look, you guessed it, is owned on behalf of Studio Live Today Records. So yes, I released it. It's not affected. It's copyright content ID. But it just means that instead of me monetizing this video here within YouTube, what happens is that any money made from ads from people watching that video goes to YouTube, who then sends it back to Amuse, who then send it back to me through my distributor Amuse for this song. So go figure, that's where that's at. In fact, I'm going to do that. I think Jade Star, content found during the whole song. So it'll actually tell you where it found that content. Jade suggested that I pull this down and re-release it under Pete Johns in DistroKid, which I will actually endeavor to do. Because, yeah, it's pretty funny that I get a content ID match on my own frickin' song. Question, do you ever use Scarlett 202 with your iPad, or do you use your Steinberg audio interface? The way I have things set up now is that I have my, I wonder how quickly I can do this. If I can join this, I don't know if I can. If I can join from here on my phone, I'll get this set up while we continue on here, but I reckon I should be able to invite myself and then go on my phone, and then I can give you another angle so you can see my setup here. I'm intrigued to try this just to test it out and see if it works. So we need to invite myself. I'm going to send it via Gmail. This is going to be fun. This will be experimental anyway. Because I'm using StreamYard here, I'm going to send it to my email address, and that will send me the link to myself to join myself on StreamYard. And then what I can do is jump over onto here, onto my mobile, and go to my Gmail, and it should give me a link that I can then copy and bring on across. Hasn't done it yet. It's been a bit slow. There it is. Join me on StreamYard. So I can tap, and we're going to copy that link, because you've got to open it in Safari on the device here. And then, I'm sorry, I know I'm going to effort that I don't really need to. I could just tell you the answer, but this is going to be funner. And we got a couple of hours here, so let's have a look. So it says I'm entering a broadcast studio on here. It's going to then bring me in here. I need to allow it to use the camera microphone, and it's using the front camera. How do I flip that? How do I flip the camera here? Camera mic. Camera, use the back camera, please. Back camera. All right, back camera, and we'll turn it sideways. There we go. We're all good. We'll go back, and then we'll go into... We'll enter the broadcast studio, and what I should do is I'll pop up here with my second camera. You're already hearing a little bit of delayed intro. There you go. It's already popped straight up, and you can hear that. So here's my setup. Now that you asked, now that we went through all that effort. So the setup here is there's my Steinberg UR22C, and that is... You can't turn the volume all the way down. I can mute the mic here, but I can't turn the volume all the way down. So my UR22C, that one goes into my powered USB hub down the back there, which goes into my adapter there, my USB-C adapter, and goes into my iPad Pro. I actually also have my Focusrite Scarlett 202 here, and this is actually connected to my Mac, as well as this sucker here, which is what you're hearing me through right now. That is my Samsung MixPad. So that's what's going through right now. So, I can turn up some echo on there. So that's controlling everything that you're hearing on this stream. But the good thing about the Mac is you can actually have multiple audio devices. So I've actually got the Steinberg Steinberg Focusrite Scarlett 202 here that's actually plugged into my Mac as well. So I can choose that. And that way when I'm doing things like my GarageBand on Mac videos and I want to have two different sources, I can tell GarageBand to use that source while I'm still streaming through this source. And then that goes into that, which goes, yeah. So it's a little bit convoluted, but that's a very long-winded way of answering your question. So no, that one is basically dedicated to my iPad Pro, and that one there is dedicated when I'm recording on the Mac. And then this one is my streaming rig. So I basically have three separate audio devices set at once. And what we'll do is I'll pop that down and I'll remove that there from the stream. I won't, see now it's going to, Last time I made a mistake and I ended on one and it went away completely. So I don't think that's going to happen because I'm still here. So what I'll do is I'll just, in fact, I'll just close the phone. But no, it's still going through. I'm worried that I'll do the wrong thing again that I did last time. I'm just going to end it. See that says end the broadcast. What if I just X out? There you go. I'll just close the tab. Last time I did end broadcast and it didn't work well. There you go. Long-winded is good. Yeah, I know. Long-winded for the win. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Clayton. And yeah, if anyone's watching and if you're liking this and you get some value, do hit the thumbs up. Let's talk about some motivation, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the hustle and grind culture here. So what are we talking when we're talking about grinding or hustling? Oh, I haven't got the right banner up there. We'll come here. There you go, midpoint motivation. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things related to this. So there is this change in things of recent times where a lot of folks are really focused on this whole hustle, that you've got to do everything and you've got to hustle and you've got to grind and you've got to work hard and you've got to work 18 hours a day at whatever you're doing to make it where you want to go. The real thing with that, though, is, and look, I love Gary Vaynerchuk and I love these sort of motivational guru types, but a lot of them even are now starting to say things which is very relevant. And I say a lot to start with why. It's really important that you start with why, to make sure that you know what you're actually trying to achieve. And the whole grinding and hustling side of things is only really relevant if you're trying to push the needle forward and if you're trying to actually do something, be super duper successful. Like if you want to be a millionaire, say you want to produce music and you want to be a pop sensation, sure, you may need to hustle and grind and work, 18-hour days just doing your thing, or every waking moment outside of, your work and your life and everything you do is spent with music, then that's cool, if that's what you're trying to actually achieve. But if you're not, like if you're a weekend warrior, if you're just producing music for fun, then you don't have to do that. I was chatting with folks over on Clubhouse this week. I was chatting with Russ. So Russ creates music at the moment, and Russ has a really good view of this. And his view at the moment is, I want to make a song a week. I want to share it. If people watch it, great. If 10 people watch it, fantastic. If 100 people watch it, amazing. But his measure of success is not based on subscriber growth, is not based on thousands of people seeing his music, is not based on making money. Because as he says, he's been there and done that. He's been in the music business in the past. He wants to do this for fun. He's got a really clear idea of his why. So Russ knows that in order to get his music out there, in order to create, he has to do what he needs to do to get the job done. And he doesn't have to do any more than that. And that's the thing. It's really simple in my view, is that if you want to be, if your version of success is to have thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers and views and plays and dollars and whatever, then that's fine. You do need to work at that. But there's so many folks out there that are hustling and grinding towards an end that they're not really sure what is, and they're not really sure why either. So I say all of that to say, know your why, know what you're actually getting out there and doing, and it's okay to do it. And the reason I say hustling and then grinding is that people talk about the grind, and it really is that. Like a lot of people think that it's easy to, like, all you need is that one hit. You just need that one viral video, that one song that breaks through on SoundCloud. And you can do it Old Town Road. You can be the next Lil Nas X. And look, that happens, clearly. But you know what? People win the lottery too. It doesn't mean that it should be something you aspire to do. The better way to do it, the way that a lot of folks have done it that are really successful people, and like some of the people that we're going to talk about in the hidden gems section next, the way they've done it is to actually grind it out, to keep trying, to keep learning, to keep creating, keep documenting their journey. And that's what I think is going to be the difference. The reason Russ is going to be successful is that he just keeps making quality music. Week after week, he keeps churning out quality music. Our friend Thomas Christ and moderator here on the channel is doing the same thing. Every week, he's creating music, he's doing his live show, his production's getting better, his interaction with his community and his audience is getting better, and he's improving every time. If he was just sitting back, not doing that, not grinding it out each week, and expecting amazing results, well, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So if you want to put it, if you've got those aspirations, put in the hard work, do the grinding, but do it in a way that is actually going to be aligned with what you're trying to achieve. That's my view. There you go. Eat, sleep, coffee, grind, jam, slam, repeat. Yeah, get the hustle and the flow. RX2's got a question. Is your USB-C to USB official Apple? Yeah. So the one I'm using here is only because I bought it when I bought the iPad Pro, just because I was new to USB-C and I wanted to make sure I had something that works. So if you come over here, do I have these on my gear guide? I should do. There we go. Apple to USB-C adapter. No, I don't. I have the one that I recommend because you don't really need it. Oh yeah, I do have it there. You don't really need it, to be honest. But I do have a link to it there. So USB-C to USB/HDMI adapter. So the genuine adapter, the genuine Apple one, which is currently unavailable anyway, but it's this one here. It's $100 here in Australia, which I think is $60 US. So it's expensive. And I don't generally, I don't recommend these because you can get away with USB-C, you can get away with anything. Now, I think I've mentioned this on a recent show. If you're using a Lightning-based iPad, use say it with me, folks, the Lightning to USB 3 adapter. Yes, it's $39 for a piece of plastic, but it works. It will work every time and it'll work for you forever. If you choose to use a cheaper one, it will not give you the reliability that you need. Trust me on this one. I've tried them. I've had the frustration, so you don't have to. Just get that one. If you're going to spend $200 on an interface, you're going to spend $100 on a microphone, you're going to spend $500 on an iPad, don't cheap out on the adapter. I know, you just have to swallow your pride, accept that you're paying the Apple tax, and move on. Because if you don't, you're going to get halfway through that face-melting guitar solo, and it's going to drop out. You don't want that. But in terms of USB-C stuff, you can actually use anything. And in fact, this is the one that I currently use. It's by Cable Creation, and this is the one I use when I'm on the go. So it just plugs into your USB-C port, and there you go. You've got your headphone, USB, HDMI, and USB-C. So you can use that to charge. You can plug it out to your HDMI monitor. You can plug in any USB devices you want, and you've got a headphone jack to boot. And what's that one? $30. So it's significantly cheaper, and you can even get there's a whole bunch of different ones you can also buy. So that one there's got an additional USB port as well. And if you go onto Amazon or anywhere and you go USB-C hub, you'll know that there are a heap. And yeah, you get what you pay for, so don't go the cheapest. Anchor makes some really good ones. So if we have a look at this one, especially in the US, here it's going to cost me like $12 to ship it over, but $28 for this one, and this basically does it all. So this has got HDMI, it's got SD card, USB-C, two USB-C in fact, and two USB 3. So it's got a heap of stuff on there for that one. But there's a heap of different ones, anything from about $20 to $40, and they do a bunch of really good stuff. And Anchor are pretty reliable, and you can see there it's got 4.6 out of 5. So that's the sort of stuff I would recommend if you're doing that. There you go. Right. Yeah, as Clayton says here, some folks don't realize you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than hitting the lottery. Exactly. Literally. And yeah, and it's like a lot of people worrying about things at the moment, and not going to get political here, but around vaccinations and other things, people worrying about these chances that things are going to go wrong with vaccinations. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. Just don't step foot outside, because you could be walking down the footpath and you've got a better chance of a car careening off the road and slamming into you than you do of having adverse side effects to. Anyway, we're not going to go down that track. Let's continue on. We'll see if we have any other questions. Otherwise, we'll jump into some hidden gems. I love the hidden gems. And if you've got hidden gems that you want to throw my way, go ahead and throw them in the chat here. This is where you can put links in there. They may get hidden, but Tom or Jade or any of the moderators around, if people put links in here and there to their suggestions for hidden gems, if you could let them through, that would be awesome, because they may not come through. All right, let's continue on. So yeah, hopefully that was a bit of a random one there, but hopefully you got some value out of that one. Let's look at some hidden gems. I'm going to close off a few of these tabs. By the way, thank you to those who support me on Patreon. I don't say it often enough, but I do really appreciate you. If you're not a patron of the channel, then you can head on over to patreon.com/PeteJohns. Here I am over here. You can see that there are 67 of you wonderful people that do that. And yeah, you'll see that there's a bunch of extra posts in there. We do extra live streams and extra exclusive videos. It's a heck of a lot of fun. So for as little as $1 per month, you can jump over and become a patron of the channel at patreon.com. But we are not looking at that. We're looking at some hidden gems. So let's come over here. No, the Norris Knots are not my hidden gem. The first place I want to direct your attention to is Dank Pods. Now, I've talked about Dank Pods before. It's not 2 words, it's 1. Dank Pods is Wade, who is here in Adelaide. And look at this. He's crushing all things here at the moment. 733,000 subscribers. He's just blown up. So I remember when he just hit 100,000. He's got 733,000 subscribers. Really, really cool stuff. You can see, whenever you see that green, that wonderful Shrek green iPad cover there, then you know you're on a Dank Pods video. So what does he do? Well, he's an iPod collector. But he does a whole lot more. He does a lot of stuff with retro audio gear, finding little nuggets, little knockoff things. This one is great. This is a pair of headphones that he reviewed. The worst headphones I've bought, and they really are. They're a pair of headphones that you can probably actually see there. You get your little earbuds from your iPhone, and you put them into a pair of headphones like that. Yeah, it's as nuts as it seems. But yeah, Wade is a super funny dude. He creates really good videos, and he actually knows his stuff. So you'll learn a lot along the way. It's not just for the entertainment value. It's heaps of entertainment value, but you'll also learn some stuff not only about the history of iOS and of iPods and things, but about audio, because he's an audiophile as well. So you'll learn about headphones, and you'll learn about audio quality and a lot of other things. So you do need to get on over and check out Dank Pods. It is an absolute gem. And there you go. Tom has thrown Dank Pod back there for the win. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Tom. And yeah, keep doing your thing. There. Yes, good suggestion, Jade. Let's since I was talking about Russ before, let's check out Russ, shall we? So Russ, 88, 89. So Russ has had quite a history in the music biz, but more recently he's been sharing some amazing videos and his songs. And he puts them together in a really cool way. So let's come in here and take a look at some of these. So you can see there's his most recent song there. You can see that the reason I've played a lot of these is that he's featured on my Your Music live show most weeks, because he's such a prolific creator that he's got a backlog of songs here that he's got available for you to listen to. So I would recommend going and listening to that. Let's listen to I haven't listened to this. This is a bit of a preview. Actually, is that the one that you thought you might have a copyright claim for? I'll play a little bit of this one because I know I've already played it and it didn't get claimed. So here's Russ 8889 featuring his cousin Gary on guitar. Let's have a bit of a spin of this one, shall we? If we turn the volume up. Yeah, right. So yeah, that is Russ 8889 creating some great music. Great, like this sounds like an insult, but it's totally not. It's great music to like answer emails and pay bills to. So later today, I've got a lot of admin to catch up on, and I just turn on Russ's music. Not just Russ, but other folks. Like there's a bunch of other artists that I've been able to discover through doing this channel that are now my favorite artists to listen to. So I used to just turn on that the chilled lo-fi hip hop 24-hour stations, but I found that their music was a bit samey and a bit boring. These days, I turn on folks like Patrick Moonbird, who does some awesome lo-fi jams. I turn on Russ 8889, our buddy Gerard Icefox. He does some great stuff like this. So, yeah, music from the community for the win. There you go. Yes, no, you're welcome. Thanks, Russ. And Russ is here in the chat. And yes, he's a very busy man. And yeah, happy to feature him as the hidden gem here today. I'll do one more from my collection, and then, like I said, I did put a post on my community tab asking for suggestions. So we'll see if you're part of the community and you've asked for something, then I'll see if yours makes the cut. But before we do that, I want to show you another one of my favorite YouTubers, and this one is not specifically music related, I wouldn't say, but it's in the ballpark, and that is Tech Moan. Hands up who's a Techmoan fan in the crowd here that's watching live. Yeah, Techmoan for the absolute win. Matt over at Techmoan, he has 1.12 million subscribers. And I know you're saying, Pete, you're saying hidden gems. You know what? There's so many YouTube channels these days that channels that have 1 million subscribers you may not know about. It's not that if someone's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube used to be like, wow, everyone knows Casey Neistat. These days, there's creators that slip under the radar that have got 1 million subscribers. It happens all the time. But yeah, Techmoan, if you're into your music audio history, Techmoan is the place to go. So you can see here, looking at mini disc stuff, radios. He does some weird like kitchen appliance reviews and things. I love this one, the connected mug. So if you want to upscale from your Studio Live Today mug and you want a mug that you can plug into USB and keep warm, if that's for you, you can do that. But yeah, a lot of stuff here about record players, about like vinyl stuff, about old boom boxes. Like he was the one that put me onto the fact that don't buy the boom boxes. Like I've got one over there. It's a nice Philips. Like it's as good as you can get now for a new thing that has a tape player in it. But the ones they sell at Aldi, the supermarket chain, are not stereo. And I nearly bought one. And then I was watching Techmoan's review and he's like, don't buy the Aldi. I'll see if I can find it. Techmoan Aldi boombox. There it is. Aldi boombox. He was like, yeah, don't buy this because it's not stereo. It looks kind of cool and retro, but it's not. It's not. It doesn't even mention stereo anywhere. It's got 2 speakers, but it's mono. Plays the same thing out of both. So yes, I would jump over there, especially if you're into your retro tech stuff and your retro music and audio stuff. Then yeah, jump on and Tom has thrown the Techmoan channel down there as well. Bailey's got a question here. Do I have to pay for you to listen live? No. If you submit your track to Your Music Live, just go to studiolivetoday.com/YML and you can submit your songs to the Your Music Live show that we do once a week. So there you go. We've got one audible video says electronic sounds audio does a lot as well. Okay, let's check this one out. So this is what we like. We like to have electronic sounds. Okay, this looks like cool. Ooh, this one does look like a bit of a hidden gem. There you go. I'll subscribe. So samples, tutorials, and shenanigans. This looks like my kind of stuff. So I'm going to subscribe. Let's jump over to the channel and see the sort of videos we got here. Oh, nice. Yep. We've got some gear stuff. Oh, it reminds me of Look Mum No Computer that we reviewed a couple of weeks ago. There you go. We're doing live stream here. 2 iPads and model samples. Nice. Okay. This looks good. I will be checking this out. Thank you for the suggestion. I will endeavour to electric sound. Nice artwork there too. That looks awesome. Music and art go together well. Exactly. Yes, and yeah, no, don't pay to play. Donate to channels you dig. Yeah, exactly. Look at it, and I know I won't rant on this because I think I ranted on it a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, there's the whole pay to play React channels. Like I was hesitant to even do a show where I play people's music because there are some that are just really cringy, where it's, I don't know, there is a super negative towards people that are actually trying their best, which I don't really get behind. Or, yeah, there's this whole pay-to-play thing that's like, hey, I'm going to get you on all these playlists and I'm going to get you in front of the right people. I guarantee nothing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play your song and it's going to be on a show that about 1,000 people watch every week, and you're going to get some good exposure to some independent creators and a few people that like good music. That's it. So, yeah, no, join the fun at Your Music Live every week. James says YouTube still frowns on you pushing your own music, but you can put a link on it. Yeah. Still pushing your own music. I mean, you can use your own music in your own YouTube videos. That's the best way to do it, I think. Document your process of creating music. That's all I've done on this channel is I started out doing that. I just was recording music, I was learning, and I was documenting the process of me recording music. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it is. He just got that logo. Ah, cool. Yeah, it's a super good logo. I need to find out where he got the logo. Maybe my logo needs a bit of a refresh. I don't know. I like the classic simplicity of it. This is why every time I try to redo it, it never works out well, because I kind of like just how simple it is. And yeah, anyway. Alrighty. Dean is awesome. I'm a subscriber to Electronic Sounds. Yeah, okay. So Dean at Electronic Sounds. Cool. I like it. Yeah, there you go. I just joined Dean's Electronic Sounds Patreon. It gives you a ton of free samples to use. Also a smashing bloke. Brilliant. Okay, there you go. We've had like four things for Dean and Electronic Sounds. Sounds good. Dean, come onto the channel. Come onto the creator series and have a chat. That would be cool. Alrighty. My channel just reached 100 subs. Congratulations, my friend. I know we talk a lot on here about how subscribers are a vanity metric and they're not the most important thing in the world, but it is a nice thing. Like, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny that when a milestone number ticks over for me, I don't go, hey, that's a cool thing. But just don't get misdirected that means the most. The thing that means the most is people actually watching you. So your watch time you're getting on your channel, the number of views you're getting, and the engagement, the interaction you're getting on your channel is super cool. There you go. Another one from Jeff. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff. There you go. A lot of recommendations. Let's jump on over, because if I go to my channel and I go to my community tab, so if you ever want to, we do a whole bunch of cool things here on the channel, and not only just the videos that we do here, like these ones that you can see down below, but if you go to the community tab, either on your desktop or even easier on your mobile, we actually have a bunch of stuff. So here I've asked for, oh look, we've only got one. I'll see what it is. So I've asked for, if you've got, I needed it 4 hours ago, any creativity related gems, hidden gems that you've got here for today. So let's come in and see what suggestion we have. Champion by Darian. That might just be a song. So maybe we don't have anything. Oh well, I don't know what Champion by Darian is, but I don't know that it's a channel. So we'll maybe it was maybe it blocked them. It might have put any comments in my blocked comments list. We'll find out later, and we can add them for a future one if we need to. All right, let's move on and add and check out our next channel. So the next one I want to direct your attention to is my man, the man with the plan, Mr. Lidge Shaw over at Recording Studio Rockstars. Yes. Now, I used to say he's got an epic beard and he's a cool guy. He's lost a bit of the beard. He's now got a beard a bit like mine, which is slightly disappointing, but he does have a cool channel here. And his podcast, Recording Studio Rockstars, so he can go up to episode 286, so you can listen to the podcast either directly on iTunes or whatever it is, podcast player, anywhere you get your podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube. Although when I say watch it, it's just the audio. So it is just an audio with a backing there, but it does make it handy. If, like me, you're a YouTube Premium member anyway, you can go ahead and listen to that. And I was even lucky enough to be on the podcast. That was a couple of years ago now. I haven't listened to it for a while, but I'll have to go back and check it out. But yeah, check out Lid Shaw. He is a studio owner. He does a lot of gear stuff, but he also talks about creating and mindset and how to go about it. And you can see there all these ones, the RSR. He's interviewed some really cool people, actually. What was one that I watched recently that I liked? Can't remember what it was. They're all good. Anyway, talks to a lot of people that are actually producing really good music. And it's well worth checking out if you want to hear that. There was, I can't remember the lady's name now, but she produced Tool and a bunch of other artists. And she talked about how, when a Tool album, they were, look, Glenn Fricker there, if you want to listen to Glenn and Lidge talk there. A lot of good interviews and a lot of good podcasts there. So if you're a fan of your long form content, then Lidge Shaw is your man over at Recording Studio Rockstars, another one of our hidden gems here today. All right, let's see. We've got some other gems that we see here. So Kate Von Kluge says that there's a couple of other girls I sub to. I can't recall their names off the bat. Very, very good. Mostly Native Instruments Machine, but they do all kind of stuff. Well, there you go. If you find those, do send them on through, and we can use those on a future video as well. Greg Hernandez, My Gems, 2 podcasts featuring in-depth single song explorations and music appreciation. Number 1 is Song Exploder. I love Song Exploder. And number 2 is Strong Songs. Now, I wonder if they have a YouTube presence, Song Exploder, because I just find it easier to listen to stuff all in one spot. Oh, have they got a Netflix show now? That could be cool. Look at this. I didn't know this. I'm finding out new things. Song Exploder, official trailer on Netflix. I won't play it because I'll probably get in trouble. But yeah, Song Exploder full episodes. Hopefully this isn't a dodginess thing. What have we got there? Okay, so this is okay. It looks like it's not. Anyway, it is a podcast and it is very cool. What was the other one? Strong songs. That sounds cool. Strong songs. Yeah, that's going to be really hard to find, isn't it? I'll have to look it up on a podcatcher app. Yeah, no, it's too generic to actually find. But I'm sure if I go ahead and search for it, then that would be pretty cool. Let's see if we've got anyone else. Yep, thank you. That Tom has put the recording studio Rockstars link there. Audible Video says Synth Dad is great too. Excellent. Yeah, Exploder hit it big. Been listening since episode 1. Let's have a look at Synth Dad. I like the idea of that because you can. To me, that's a great name because it tells you exactly what to expect straight away. Look at that. Caution, Dad Cave, no entry at your own risk. Let's subscribe. Quantize all the things. See, I do love watching these. I have absolutely zero interest in doing anything like this. When you look at people that have videos where they're doing all of this sort of gear, where they've got wires and they've got things physically hooked into other things, zero interest in doing it. Love watching other people do it. Is anyone else with me on that? That you don't want to do this. Let's just get rid of that Song Exploder trailer. You don't want to do any of this stuff. I love LGR, lazy game reviews for that. I don't play retro games. I don't particularly like retro games. Love watching him talking about retro games. The same with retro audio, same with Techmoan, same with a lot of these channels. I will watch this for hours, yet have zero interest in actually doing it myself. Is that weird? Am I super weird, or is that pretty normal? Anyway, I like it. I like the thumbnail style's good. Very consistent thumbnail style there. Changed up a little bit there, but yeah, I'll have to go and check out. There you go. I've subscribed to Synth Dad. And there you go. Tom's on the ball. Putting you to work here today, Tom. I'll have to up your pay. I'll give you a 20% pay rise for moderating the channel. Sorry, Tom. But no, go check out Thomas Christ. There you go. I'll pay you in kind by saying, go check out Thomas Christ. I know many of you are already subscribed, but Thomas does amazing industrial music. If you're a Nine Inch Nails fan, if you're a Tool fan, if you like your music a little bit hardcore and straight edge, jump over. Not that Thomas is straight edge, but yeah, if you like your music that way, go and check it out because he releases his own songs there. He's got some cool independently released songs, and his weekly live streams are excellent as well. So there you go. Russ8889. Now, Russ is a big YouTube fan and he knows his stuff. So he said Dr. Mix is cool. Dr. Mix. Let's check out Dr. Mix. Ooh, I like it. All right, we'll subscribe and we'll jump in to check out Dr. Mix. Oh, look at that. Look at that professional looking banner there. It's all over it. Love it. Yep. Oh, he uses red and white. I like it. Staying Alive tutorial for bass. So he's got some bass tutorials there. Oh, a lot of Staying Alive stuff. Questions and music. How I went viral. I better watch that and find out. I better get some tips from the doctor on how to go viral. 444X challenge route. Yeah, lots of good looking stuff there. There you go. You could literally just spend all day watching other people's YouTube channels, couldn't you? You could go nuts with it, right? Tom's got a hidden gem here, which is Ricky Tynes, a house music producer. All right, let's take a look at this one. Ricky Tynes. Nice. Okay, Ricky Tynes. Oh, look at that. I love people that have their nice surfaces. Like Doug has his nice views that you know it's a Doug video over at the sound test room. But yeah, look at that. And Jakob Hack uses something like that. LGR, love the wood grain as well. Let's just go to video. Doesn't look like a lot of video. Oh, yeah. I was in the popular videos, but there's a heap here. More plugging of things into things. Oh, floppy disk, my favorite pocket operator. Yes. All right. I'm going to have to go and check that one out too. I like the simplicity of this too. Yeah. All right. Done. And there you go. Dr. Mix. Dr. Mix is high energy. Very cool. The doctor is in. So there's your hidden gems for this week. Got some homework to do. I shortly do because the good thing about that is as soon as you subscribe to these things, they'll just start popping up. So when new videos come out, they'll pop straight up into there. Yeah, I know, Jeff. Tell me about it. So many cool things to watch, so little time to do it. But that's all good. Let's go. We've got a few more topics to cover here today. And of course, if you do have any of your own questions, you can just do that. Just put the word question in front of your comment if you're here live. If you're watching on the replay and you think you're missing out, don't worry. I pretty much answer every comment, or at least I try to, so you can drop your comments down in the description, or not the description, in the comment section after the show, and we will definitely get back to those. And yeah, YouTube is addictive. I know. I'm just going to quick drink. And it's not a topic I had here on the list, but do please keep in mind that just watching YouTube videos 24/7 is not going to actually make you a better producer or a better music creator or a better video creator. You need to do the doing. So watch a lot of stuff, watch this channel, watch these other channels we talk about, but do keep in mind that if you want to get better at the actual production, you do need to do the actual producing. It's it's a tough one. I did that a lot. I used to watch a lot of Graham Cochran on recording. What's his name? What's this channel called? Recording Revolution. So I watched a lot of Graham's videos. I watched a lot of Home Studio Corner with Joe Gilder, and I would binge on that stuff, and I would just like watch hours and hours, and then I'd go, hang on, I've got to actually stop and put some of this into practice. So yeah, there you go. After you've watched this show and maybe a couple of those other channels that you want to check out, then make sure you go and create some music too, because yeah, that's something. Am I late? Awesome. Yeah, you're pretty late, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah, rewind and go 2x or maybe 3 or 4x and you'll get there. And yeah, Audible Video, welcome. You found me because of Doug, exactly. And I'm sure a lot of people have found Doug and Jade and Thomas because of me mentioning them. And I think that's the good sort of networking. That's not the like for like, the sub for sub. I do not condone doing any sort of follow for follow, sub for sub behavior. We've talked about it before. I won't bore you with it. But the good sort of thing is, hey, I do this stuff, and I know these other people that do similar stuff, and you may dig them and their style, and then you send people on their way, and people are happy. So, yeah, that is a good thing. Exactly, balance in your YouTube. Clayton Von Kluge's got a good question. What's more catchy for modern music, major or minor keys, in your humble opinion? It's an interesting one, isn't it? There's a lot of songs that are in minor keys these days, and a lot of loop-based and sample-based songs seem to be in a minor key. So if you think about the catchiest songs of all time, though, yeah, the rock and pop songs of the past are probably in major keys. Then again, if you listen to a lot of Michael Jackson, which I don't recommend, but like Madonna songs and Beatles songs and Rolling Stones, yeah, there's a lot of major keys. I don't know. I'm going to throw it out there to you. I would go minor. Personally, I think minor keys just have a little bit more edge to them, and I probably find them more catchy. But what do you think? Yeah, let us know. If you're here in the chat, let us know. Major or minor? What do you think? Let me know. And we'll swing back to that one and answer that in a moment. What do I have here on my list? Let's talk about music streaming for a moment, shall we? So I watched a really interesting video this morning while I was just wandering about the place, and it was all about Spotify and the rise of Spotify, and it went back into the history of music. So I'll try and find the video, but I think if you just search Spotify, was it NBC? Spotify, NBC, it was like one of those news ones. Yeah, here it was. It was how Spotify dominates Apple, Google, and Amazon in music. So there you go. Well, I'll copy this link and we'll throw it here in the chat so that you can have a bit of a watch of this, or you can tag it for yourself for later. So I watched this and it was really interesting because it went through, it was from 9 months ago, but it was at the sort of the start of the pandemic, and it talked about the rise of streaming platforms and the rise of streaming music, and the fact that the reason Spotify dominates is mostly because of the free tier, the advertising supported free tier, which I found quite interesting because things like Google, so YouTube Music, or what used to be called Google Play Music, Amazon Music, what are the other ones? Deezer, Tidal, all of these platforms, most of them have a free month, but after that free month, the majority of them then you have to pay. And there's no free tier, there's no advertising supported model. Spotify instead went with more the YouTube model, which is we'll give it to you for free if you watch ads. So many of you would be seeing ads on this video because, hey, I'm going to keep the lights on here on Studio Live Today Studios. But if you've got YouTube Premium, you're not watching ads, but you're probably paying $10 or $15 a month, depending on your plan. So Spotify have kind of gone to the front of the queue when it comes to music streaming because they have a free tier. So I want to ask you, now that you've answered the question about major and minor, which we'll jump into in a sec, what streaming platform do you use and why? I'm really keen to know this because I use YouTube Music because it has basically the same catalog as Apple Music or Spotify, but it gives me YouTube Premium as well. So I pay basically the same amount, but I get no ads on my YouTube, and I can play YouTube in the background when I close my phone. I don't have to have my phone open and in the app to be playing a YouTube video, which is great because I listen to a lot of audio-based stuff. I can listen to Rick Beato rant for hours without having to have it on there. I could be playing Pokemon Go and listening to Rick Beato at the same time, which is something I do. Yes, go ahead and call me names and call me a child. But it's fun. Let's see what folks think about the major and the minor thing. Clayton Von Clue says for sure, lots of minor keys lately. Audible Video says minor. Joe Glenn says minor. Yep. Tom says I'd say minor. To me, the majors come off as excessively cheerful and not in a great way. Hard to explain, but maybe some can relate. Yeah, definitely. Definitely minor there. Not the major keys can't work. There are some great ones, but I'm generally drawn to the more minor. Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. I think that's it. Yeah, Rick Beato is kind of a cool dude, though. Pete Johns, can you say my name? No, I can't. I cannot say ping pong delay. I'm very sorry. I do like ping pong delay. There's not enough stereo delays that actually have ping pong delay. Major that transitions to minor. Yeah, major that goes into minor can be cool. A bit of a combination. Yeah, why not have both? Exactly. Why not have both? Good point there. Yes, but Rick Beato is a kind of cool dude indeed. And he talks a lot. He's got yet another copyright claim video. Let's throw, if you don't know Rick Beato, let's throw him in here as an extra. It's not really related to music streaming. We'll get back to that in a minute. But let's throw him in as an extra one here. Everything Music with Rick Beato. And this is him, the man, the myth, the legend. And yeah, what's wrong with these people? Warner Music Group blocks the video. So yeah, 3 days ago, he's had another rant about Warner blocking his video. So what he was talking about is he actually did a video for, now I forget the artist, can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, the artist actually, their assistant literally reached out to him and said, hey, I really dig this video. Thanks for doing it. And it was like behind the music stuff. And then he gets a copyright claim that says, hey, we're going to block this video. We're blocking your video because you use this audio. And his point was, he is promoting these artists from the 70s and the 80s, and his major demographic is people aged 25 to 35. So what these artists from the 70s are saying is that they don't want up to 300,000 people that watch each video discovering an artist from the 70s that is not getting any coverage or not getting any promotion elsewhere. It is kind of ludicrous. It doesn't make sense. But at the same token, it is also how the system works. Everybody knows when you join the YouTube Partner Program, it is very clear. If you read the terms of service, which I understand nobody does, but if you do, it very clearly states that if you choose to use the YouTube's Partner Program, meaning you want YouTube to place ads on your videos so that you can make money from YouTube, that YouTube uses the Content ID system. And if you use anyone else's music or video, there will be a copyright claim, and they can therefore choose to either take your monetization or even select to block your video if you're using other people. So as much as I agree with Rick in terms of it sucks, and these artists and these companies should be doing everything in their power to allow it through, to put in some blocks, to not let the automated robots do this, and definitely not go around manually claiming this stuff, it is ludicrous, but it is absolutely what they are in their right to do. And it goes back to my comment about YouTube. We are building our houses on borrowed land here, people. We don't own the land. We don't own YouTube. We don't own everything that we do on YouTube. It's the same with Facebook. If you're using a product and you're using it for free, guess what? You are the product, and you have to play by their rules. If the landlord comes in and puts the rent up, guess what? If you're on rented land, you ain't got no choice. Nothing you can do about it. Just call me Ping for short. I will. Pong. Rick Beato, there is his channel. You can take a look. All right. Philip Sims, Spotify. So you're a Spotify user? Yeah, maybe. Tom's, we're hitting all the channels I watch on the day. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, please do give me feedback on this one because I know this is a very different sort of show than what I usually do, but I kind of dig it because I think it's more relaxed, it's low key. We can have a chat, we can cover some topics in a level of depth that I can't do in the 30-minute shows or even the 1 hour shows. So, yeah, if you do dig this, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know, or if there's things we can change or improve. If there's segments you'd like to see, if there's bits that you think go on too long, let me know. But I love it because I can interact directly with folks who choose to be here. I know it's a weird time here tonight, so we will be back to the regular time. So all of our usual, apart from Russ, who is a machine and is up late to join us. I know that the UK and European folks who are watching on the replay, hello. I'm sorry, we will make it earlier in the future so you can maybe try to get along or sneak it in at the end. But time zones are weird, man, and it's hard to do it. James Kimball says you got to do a minor after about 10 majors. Yeah, sometimes you need a cleanse, don't you? You need to go back to that. JMDN says you can't really do much about a copyright claim, but Rick Beato is still pretty neat. Yeah, exactly. And again, I don't know why he's got, with the connections he's got and the fame that he's got, I don't know how he still, maybe it's because of the way he's approached these, but surely he's got connections. Surely there's someone at Warner Media Group that he can just talk to and say, hey, do you realize that this is actually helping you and your artists? That this is not what you need to do? Or is their model so broken and are they so arcane in their approach that they can't see the forest for the trees? They're still in the old way. They got burnt by Napster and now they're like, anyone using our music is a thief, an out and out thief, and I'm gonna take them to court and I'm gonna make sure no one will ever play them. You know what? That's fine. But guess what? In 2021, that is not the way to do it. There is so much music. There is an abundance of music that if you spend your time fighting and taking people to court and blocking people from even talking about and using snippets of your music, guess what? You're going to get left behind. Simple. The reason that I don't do shows like that is that I'd love to do a show where I go through, play like my old favorite records and talk about them. It's too high risk. I would love a show where I just grab old CDs. I started doing it. I did a concept episode of it on another channel, and it was a heap of fun, and I think people would really dig it, but it's a slippery slope. All I need to have is one particular record company that really gets their knickers in a twist and puts, if I play 3 songs, they could put 3 copyright claims on there, and I could get 3 strikes and be out. So it's just not worth it. So I've made that decision to be on the conservative side. Rick Beato and others that are utilising other people's copyrighted music have made the decision to be on more of the aggressive side. You're going to pay the price. Unfortunately, it's the reality of the situation. Clayton says, I just rejoined Spotify because of Joe Rogan's podcast. I think a lot of people have joined Spotify to listen to Joe Rogan rant. Not that I can talk. I like a good rant. Yeah, I like a rant every now and then. Yeah. Exactly. And Rick has come out and said he doesn't care about the claim. Exactly. And neither do I. And it's the same with me. If I was doing Your Music Live and suddenly an artist came and wanted to take down the whole Your Music Live video, I'd be really baffled as to why. Because that's a really weird marketing technique that you can say, oh, my song can either be on this show where it could get in front of 1,000 people or it could not. And he's only playing a minute of the song anyway. And he's putting links to my song so people go watch the whole thing. Yeah, that would be wacko. I would be super weirded out by that. But hey, maybe people have different views. I don't know. Jeff uses YouTube, Spotify, and SiriusXM. Oh, you're all over it, Jeff. I love it. Greg says the show's a great resource, not for all viewers, but for those of us here appreciate the deep dives. Yeah, and that's what I think. I think the whole point of a YouTube channel. I know a lot of people don't agree with this. I'm going to be a little bit ranty again because, hey, we've still got 15 minutes to talk. The whole point of a YouTube channel is that it should be pick and choose. And I know me as a YouTuber or as a content creator, I shouldn't be doing this, but I totally respect the fact that there's people that only watch 1 or 2 of the shows on this channel per week. Some people love the 5-minute tutorials and watch none of the lives. Some people love the lives, but only the 30-minute or the 1-hour lives where I'm actually doing a song. Some people really dig Your Music Live because they like discovering new music. And some people literally only rock up for the happy hour because they want to see Pete play some covers. Whatever it is, that's cool. But like a channel, the risk is you just become a variety channel. I think as long as everything I do, the basic premise is I want to help you create, record, and release your best music. Now, the happy hour is probably the only one that's kind of pushing the boundary of that one. But for everything else, that's what I'm here to do. So if there's one little, and even with the happy hour, the one little aha moment might be a song that I cover that you're like, oh, that's a cool song. I'd like to learn how to play that song. Or I'll talk about a music concept that an artist used to create a song. Or I'll talk about the chord progression in a song and why it's so cool. So I think, yeah, there is something. And again, you're not going to get everything out of everything. And maybe I'm isolating myself from some generations or some people with lower attention spans. Maybe. But I think it's cool. You can pick and choose. You can be here or you can not. See, Joe, it's going on 1 a.m. Yeah, so for those on the east coast of North America, I know we started at 11 p.m., nearly 1 a.m. now, so thank you for being here. I do really appreciate it. What's the best guitar string gauge? Oh, personally, I use 9.5. Now we're into the weeds, aren't we? So I use, what do I use? Yeah, I use 9s on my electrics. I use the Ernie Ball Hybrid Slinkies, which I need to replace on my electrics, which is why I got a 3-pack of the suckers here. And on my acoustics, I think I'm out of them. I am. What do I use? I use the light gauge elixirs. So what are they? Yeah, they're 9s as well, or are they 10s? I forget. But yeah, I use elixirs on my acoustics. But yeah, that's what I use. There you go, guitarists. You can tune in and let us know. RX2 says usually I don't get to the Creator Town Halls, so this time worked out for me. Yeah, good stuff. And yeah, maybe we vary it up. I don't know. Do we want consistency or do we want to vary it? I don't know. James says I'll pay the premium dues. Well, so that's the thing. You definitely don't have to with YouTube. If you don't mind the ads, and there's ways around the ads. Try not to do it because you know what? Yeah, it helps us creators if you just do have the ads enabled. But I know that not everyone will. Clayton Von Clues uses the 9s as well. Yep, as do I. What else we got here? You normally nocturnal too. Yeah, absolutely. What have we got? O'Neill Jones says, I don't know, the happy hour is quite a good lesson in the value of live streaming in addition to writing and recording. It's not advertised as such, but folks watching must see the benefits. Yeah, and that's I really did it at the very start of the pandemic just for something to be a distraction. So, but what it's actually turned out in is it's helped me build up my catalogue of songs, and I think it's really helped me in terms of that. But yeah, I think it's actually helping other folks because I'm learning about the live streaming and it's helping me improve, and I'm sharing tips about how to do that sort of thing, like a live performance type gig on YouTube. I think if you watch the first happy hour and then you watch the more recent ones, it's definitely looking and sounding and feeling a lot better. So, yeah, hopefully that's it. Jeff has no idea. Yeah, I was like that for a long time. I had no idea what was on there. Now I just have things because I know mostly because people ask me, and then I don't feel like as much of a nong if I say, oh, I don't know. But no, I don't think you need to know exactly what strings you're using. Yeah, I love the elixirs. I know. I when I first bought my Taylor, it came with elixirs on there, and it played so nicely. I've just never been prepared to try anything different. JM Ernie Ball 9.5 acoustic, D'Addario 12, but it really differentiates. Yeah, it can change. It can change depending on your personal choice. And RX2 uses the 10s. Glutton for punishment. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to shred those fingers. All right. Clayton used to use the 8s, but I don't shred lead scales or runs like I used to. Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan uses 11 and 12. Yeah, but Stevie Ray Vaughan is Stevie Ray Vaughan, so he can probably get away with it. All righty. Where are we at? Well, we've got another couple of things to talk about. What should we do? We'll finish on this one. And this is just going to be for a little bit of fun. Let's talk music snobbery, shall we? So what do I mean? Music snobbery. I mean that there are a lot of folks out there that have some snobbery when it comes to music, both from a genre perspective, but also from how it was recorded. Now, I know I'm not going to go off onto a big long rant about home recording versus pro studio recording or GarageBand versus Pro Tools, because we've been there, done that. My view on it is whatever works for you, whatever works for your workflow. The quality argument's almost gone because every system is going to just be recording 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz audio. And at the end of the day, the platform that you're recording that into is almost irrelevant from a quality perspective. What's not irrelevant is the actual stuff you use. So if your workflow works well, if you've been using Pro Tools for 10 years, of course I'm not going to recommend that you go use GarageBand because you know how to use Pro Tools. And Pro Tools does all the things GarageBand does and then some. If you're starting out, however, though, there is a big difference between utilizing something like GarageBand that helps you along the way, that holds your hand, that makes sure that you know what you're doing, and something like Pro Tools. So there's that side of it. The more music snobbery that I see is around genre. And I used to be terrible for this. I used to say, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, I'd be like, ugh, pop music is so bad these days. All I ever want to hear is alternative rock and hard rock and a bit of metal. And like, if it doesn't have guitars in it, if it's using all these synthesizers and other crappy instruments, it's just not real music. It's got to be hardcore, real music. These days, I don't care what genre it is. And to the fact, I can't even distinguish genres anymore. I kind of listen to the music and based on the merit of the quality music. So there is really bad R&B music out there. But you know what? There's really bad alternative rock music too. But you know what? There's also really good R&B music. R&B music that can really hit a tune with me, that has a good meaning to it. It's got a good beat. The person rapping over it's got really good flow. Whatever it happens to be, it really doesn't matter. Like, the genre of the music doesn't matter. I listen to a lot of classical music. I listen to jazz music. I've even started digging on country music. Who was it? It was Eddie Windhorst, I think, that's been sharing music in the last couple of Your Music Lives. I've got to see if I can find him here. Here he is. Here's the man, Eddie Windhorst. So I've been playing a lot of his songs in recent times. Oh, that's not the right version of him, but yeah. And I've been playing these country tunes, and I played one last week. I was like nearly in tears by the end of it because I'm like, oh man, that music really spoke to me. And I think that's the thing. I think that when people reject a type of music, a style of music, a genre of music, a way a piece of music is created, just based on face value, they're missing out on so much opportunity. There's so much cool music out there that, it's such a waste for people to not do that. So, I say all of that to say, don't limit yourself. Don't say, I don't like country music, or I don't like R&B, or I don't like hip hop. Anytime you make a definitive statement to do with something creative, I think you're actually doing yourself a disservice. Definitive statements in general are one of the big problems. Yes, no, black, white, up, down. When it comes to creativity, they never seem to have as much relevance. And I've basically gone on a bit of a rampage in recent times that whenever I'm starting to talk about something, I start with, you know what? If everyone just used the words "in my opinion" or "in my experience" at the start of every sentence, the world would be so much nicer. Because that's all it comes down to. In my experience, I'm not a big fan of country music. It's very different from country music sucks. Well, you could argue they mean the same thing, but one is so definitive and the other one is just not. So, try to stay away from black and white definitive statements when it comes to music and creativity, because you just never know. You don't know, and you don't know what changes over time. Like, I used to despise avocado and coriander. These days, love it. I'll probably go and have lunch and I'll have a roll with avocado and coriander in it because they're delicious. But my child and teenage and even 20-something self disliked them greatly. So things change. You'll change. So there you go. Tom says the happy hour probably was part of what inspired me to do my live stream each week. Cool. See, there you go. It in some way, it's helping you create more music because, and I know other people have said similar things. They're like, I saw you do that and it looked like fun, so now I'm going to do it. Cool. And I know that, Tom, you're doing your request shows now, and you're using the same format that I've been using, which is cool. Again, and I probably borrowed that without even realizing it from someone else. It's cool. If you can inspire people, then that's cool. More people talking about strings. I'll just see if there's any final comments or questions that we've got to this one as we go. JMDN says, music snob, analog is best. You have to record in a studio. Instrumentals aren't real music. You can't make music on your phone. Yeah. If you use loops, that's wrong. If you use samples, that's wrong. If you use virtual instruments, there's so many of them that can just be there. Exactly. Soul Rack M7, welcome, Carlito. Good to have you here. I just got the best and smoothest compressor you can get without that pumping sound, and it's called Magic Death Eye DDMF compressor, tube compressor emulation. Cool. Sounds good. I'll have to check it out. I'll put it on the list. There's only about 100 different things on that list of things that I should do. By the way, I didn't want this show. I like the fact this is more of a talk show, but if there's things you want me to do in terms of reviewing either gear or apps or software or whatever, do let me know, because I do want to look at different ways that we can tweak this show over time as well. Tom says, I'll listen to any genre except, to be honest, not so hot on modern, last 15 to 20 years, rap, pop and country. The older stuff is great though. Yeah, and that's the thing. The modern stuff, the reason I don't listen to the more modern stuff is that the majority of it is not aligned with what I like. Occasionally a song will come out and I'll be like, hey, I actually really dig on that. But the risk, the effort versus the return is often not quite there. And yeah, as Clayton says, we change tastes as we get older. Absolutely. O'Neill and Jones says, in our experience, the folks with the strongest musical opinions are often the least creative. Here. I agree. Yeah, it is funny that really opinionated people that have a really, really strong view on something are often, in the case of some things, they're often the least educated because they haven't spent time understanding the other side of an argument or the other side of an opinion or another genre of music. So they may not have the actual knowledge or education to actually have that opinion. Again, I know that's controversial, but yeah, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's this, and I say it's this, and it'll always be this. Not exactly the way. But yeah. And Clayton says, I love samples and loops. Never used them before. Yeah, exactly. I don't use them that much either, but they're cool. The 80s did have some good stuff. And I agree. Right on, O'Neill and Jones. And you should go check out O'Neill and Jones. They make really good stuff. It's 12:59 a.m. For folks in the East Coast, and it's up to 10 p.m. if you're on the West Coast, and it's like the middle of the bloody morning. You should just be about to get up and have a cup of tea if you're in the UK or Europe. So we are finishing up here, but I do thank you once again. If you do want to support the channel, there's a few ways that you can do it. You can jump on over and become a patron, like I know many of you fine folks already are, but again, for as little as $1 per month, you get extra videos, you get extra live streams, and you get to be part of a very cool community of creators. You can also go over to studiolivetoday.com/gear and check out the gear guide. Want to get yourself a mug or a t-shirt and confuse your friends and families because they'll be like, what's Studio Live Today? Then you can pick those up, studiolivetoday.com/merch. They're super cheap too. I think they're $15 for a mug and less than $20 for a t-shirt. And you can get them all around the world. So thank you to those who are already patrons, who have already supported me by using the gear guide and by buying merch. So I do appreciate you. You help keep the lights on here at Studio Live Today Studios. Now tomorrow, we've got a very special event. Myself and the one and only Patrick Baird from the Garage Band Guide. We will be doing GarageBand Weekly together. I'm just going to try and find it here now. I'm going to try and find the link so we can throw it here in the chat. There we are. That's the handsome one on the left and this doofus over here. But yes, Patrick and myself will be there. So if you jump into the link here, what you can do is you can set the reminder there. And you know what? I've already liked it. I know it's going to be cool because Patrick's awesome. So you can do that. I'll just copy this link and throw it over here into the chat now. So you can join me and you know when the next one's going to be. So that'll be back at the regular time, which is 2 p.m. on the west coast of the US and Canada, 5 p.m. Eastern and at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time for those in the UK and Europe, and very early 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Australia. So I hope you can join me for that one. Oh, it didn't paste. That's right. It only didn't go to Facebook. Thank you, everyone, for being here. As we say at the end of every show, please be kind to yourself. Fit your own oxygen mask before helping others, including children. But do be kind to the children, because children are our future. Children are our future. And keep on creating. I'll see you next time, creators. Take care. Let's play ourselves out with a bit of this. Yeah. Yeah.